Girl Effect South Africa has officially launched its flagship South African program, JiK'iZinto. Girl Effect aims to create safe spaces where girls can be empowered with information about health, nutrition, education, and economic livelihoods, all while equipping them with the skills to negotiate and redefine what they are told is possible for a girl. South Africa Senior Program Manager Emmanuelle Mgiba joins us now for more on this conversation. Emmanuelle, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Of course, through your Girl Effect NGO, maybe let's start off with this JiK'iZinto program that you have since launched, and tell us more about it. What prompted you to start this program?
Awesome. First of all, thank you so much for having me. So as Girl Effect is part of a broader organization, it's an international non-profit headquartered in the UK with a number of country offices, and each country office has its own approach to tackling inequality when it comes to gender. And so in the South African context, we saw that there were three main areas where there was a need for us to tackle gender inequality and the ways in which it manifests itself. One of them was economic empowerment, and I think that speaks for itself. The other is mental well-being, and the third is sexual reproductive health and rights. Quite a staggering statistic is that there's a HIV infection prevalence of 21.5% in women as opposed to 13.1% in men. And so JiK'iZinto is really a program that tackles all three of those thematic areas using media and technology as our primary means of programming.
Of course, it is aimed at girls and young women across the country. Perhaps if you can just tell us, through this JiK'iZinto program, how will young girls be able to benefit from it?
Amazing. They can benefit in many different ways. So I mentioned just when I was speaking now that we are tech and media enabled. So we have a number of avenues through which adolescent girls and young women can benefit from the program. One of them is a television series that actually airs every Thursday on SABC 1, 6:30, called Dichipi. And Dichipi is a TV show that really follows the lives of three young women who are each going on their own journey, and that explores the themes of economic empowerment, sexual reproductive health, and mental well-being in more detail. And we call that our core product. Supporting that are our other reinforcer products like our chatbot called Big Sis. Big Sis is an AI-powered chatbot where you can chat via WhatsApp or via the Moya app, which is data-free, to Big Sis and ask any questions that you have around sexual reproductive health and mental well-being in a private, safe, non-judgmental space. To date, we've had incredible reach with Big Sis, over 3 million users overall. In the last month, we had over 100,000 users and over 6 million questions answered by Big Sis around these thematic areas. Big Sis is also then supported by a helpline, so we have trained social workers that you can talk to via helpline just to provide that supplementary support. And then we also have our Jiggy web app, so it's a website that's also downloadable like an app, and there we have a service directory. And wherever you are across the country, if you do feel through watching Dichipi or through engaging with Big Sis that you want to take up a service, whether it be going to a clinic, speaking to a counselor or psychologist, going to get tested, whatever the case might be, you can filter by your geographic location and find a service near you that speaks to those needs. So what we've created is an ecosystem of support around adolescent girls and young women using media and using technology, where we educate and inform using Dichipi, using Big Sis, but then we also create a funnel towards young people actually taking up services that can improve their quality of life.
And how important are these programs, especially when you're trying to reach out, to young people in the country who are faced with many challenges?
I cannot express enough how important it is. I've been in the development space for quite a while, and despite there being a number of interventions that have come and gone over the years, the need still remains quite stark. What we noticed especially was something that we call the hope deficit. And what that is that young people know that there are a number of services available to them through a number of nonprofits that work in the space. But because there's such a hope deficit, they're not even entirely sure if these services will work for them or if these services will help change their life's trajectory. And so that alone speaks to the fact that there is a need. There's a need to keep educating, to keep informing, and to keep being a reliable source of information and also support for young people. So the need is stark. The statistics, as I mentioned, speak for themselves. I spoke about that HIV statistic, but then also in terms of economic empowerment between the ages of 15 and 24, we have about 75% of young people within that age group that are economically inactive. So these are young people that have completely stopped looking or trying to be economically empowered at all. And so the statistics speak to the need, but also anecdotal evidence chatting to young people on the ground also indicate that there's great need for interventions like this. But there's also great need for other organizations that work in the space to partner and collaborate. And that's really what we're trying to do as Girl Effect. We're educating, we're providing information, but we're also really open to partnering with other organizations so that the pool of services that young people can access widens drastically through our service directory on our Jiki web app.
And what has been the response like from young girls, particularly with these opportunities which are available to them to assist them, through their teenage lives?
The response has been great. So I'll speak about response in two ways. One is response in terms of our engagement to date. So by watching Dichipi, engaging with Big Sis, we've had incredible response through the number of viewers, the number of chats being initiated with Big Sis. That's been incredible. A lot of people really appreciate the look and feel and vibrancy of JiK'iZinto. We don't program in the way that typical nonprofit organizations program. We do it in a way that is resonant and relevant to young people. So on one hand, that response has been great. On the other hand, we've received a lot of great testimonials from young people on how Big Sis has been so helpful. We often have reviews come in where young people have said, listen, I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. Chatted to Big Sis. I got the help that I needed. I spoke to a helpline agent and they were able to guide me to where I could get support. So the response has really been incredible, especially because Girl Effect within the South African geography is still quite a nascent organization. And so we believe that the response will only increase and grow from here.
All right, Emmanuelle, thank you so much for your time this evening. All right, that is Emmanuelle Mgiba. She is from Girl Effect. She is the South African Senior Program Manager for that initiative.